Alrighty, hello every folks, and welcome to a bit of a discussion on, well, the retissue mechanic. So, here's the thing. This was originally going to be a completely different video. Actually, that's the reason for the name of this guy. It was originally supposed to be like, oh look, it's, it's Mr. Graham from Fallout New Vegas. Look at that, we chucked him off a cliff, and then we gave him the whole retissue loop. Isn't this funny? Can't expect God to do all the work, all that kind of business. And, have Star Ion nuke the entire map with their crazy stats. But anyway, this actually went a little bit crazier than I thought. See, I'd heard, and I'd seen some effects of this, but I'd heard in the past that this affects their speed. So for those unfamiliar, there's a mechanic in this game. If you've ever seen, if you've ever wondered where the leveling mechanic comes from in the remake, it wasn't out of left field. Basically, it's kind of a rework of what's known as the retissue loop in the original game. So originally, if a character died, they were just dead, right? Well, you had a few ways to actually bring them back, and one of those ways was necromancy and retissue. So, if you had a lich and you got necro, which bizarrely you can actually get a copy of necro from Dagon. He's the guy who's talking about his daughter. So, the one who's looking for 30 grand to save his daughter. Which, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. You can get necro from a few places, but yeah, for some reason he drops one. I think his daughter is a ghost. Anyway, dire implications aside, what this does, like, if you have Revivify on a priest, they just instantly bring your unit back as they were. If they die and they're female and they're good enough, they will come back as an angel. If they die and they're male and they have an undead ring, they can come back as a lich. But necromancy brings back a dead unit as a ghost or skeleton, which basically means that every time that they're functionally immortal, but every time they're knocked down, they lose all of their experience, and it's basically really difficult for them to level up. After a while, you kind of want to stick them in the back row and just have them sniping things. Which, by the way, if you happen to have seen a save file like this before, I actually had gone and I wanted to make sure that all resources were available for this test, so I did go and get a maxed out save file that somebody posted out online for this. But any dang ways, so yeah, but what you do is you bring him back as a ghost or skeleton, which isn't very, it's alright, but it's not the end-all, be-all, most amazing thing ever. So, what you can do then is take go and take a necromancer, or not a necromancer, if you go and take a warlock, you can give them retissue. So that's this thing over here, which it just says, changes an undead character into an Amazon or soldier. Okay, great, fine, it just turns them back to human, right? Well, as you may notice by Mr. Josh Graham's level here, it sets them back to level 1, but it keeps all of their, well, most of their original stats. I think it's something like they keep, like half of their health or something, half health, half MP, but for some reason they forgot to reset the rest of the stats, meaning that they functionally can just break the level cap and just keep going forever. For a bit of comparison, this is a endgame, well, Rendell in this one, but, fully optimized with a literally impossible loadout. And this is this guy after a retissue loop. Now, this is after one retissue loop. Now, what happens if we keep going with that? Because I want to point out, look at their WT, their wait time on the top right. He's at 207, this guy's at 154. After a certain point, and I can't tell you exactly where that is, but after a certain point, they start changing a lot. For some reason, their wait time starts going down. So they have infinite stats, potentially infinite health. They're, like, literally impossible. And then you wind up with something like this, where you put them through a second retissue loop. Their wait time is 1, meaning that if Rendell and his Joshua Graham doppelganger here were to fight, he would act 266 times before he had a chance to even move. Yeah, this guy has perfect stats across the board for pretty much everything that matters. Funnily enough, his MP is still just 88, so his health is going up slightly. But even still, yeah, that was kind of supposed to be the original joke of like, oh look, here's this one guy with a pistol and he can go solo an entire thing by himself, right? Well, yeah, this sounds like it might be a glitch. So let's go ahead and take a look and see how he fares against a optimized endgame team. Now, I'm not entirely sure what the full story is behind the team of this save file. They're just, like I said, this was just somebody's save file that they posted online, but they did have a bunch of endgame stuff set up for them. I had changed a couple things just to move it around, but I mean, honestly, it doesn't even matter. I can tell you right now, they don't stand a chance. It doesn't really matter what their gear is, doesn't matter what anything is. They can literally all be running around with just nothing but orbs in their inventory for, you know, negative 40 weight. Doesn't matter. It completely doesn't matter. They'll still just get completely destroyed by this. But, yeah, let's just go ahead and set this down for a moment. Now, yes, he can basically pistol whip people for hundreds of damage at this point. That was part of the original joke. For any of the Ogre folks that never played New Vegas, I mean, that's kind of the weird thing about Josh Graham. For some reason, he has the unique ability to pistol whip people. It's a funny game. Anyway, yeah, infinite range, whips out a pistol, several hundred damage. Okay, you know, understandable. His stats are insane. And then he'll just go ahead and take another turn now. Just go ahead and pop Hobrim too. Why not? Like, when I first started this, again, I thought it was just going to be like, oh, look, this guy's really powerful. I didn't realize when they said that they sped up that it literally meant that they break the time barrier entirely. Which, yes, a little bit more reading on the Tactics Ogre wiki would have cleared that up, but still, it's just something else to see it in person. So yeah, I'm like 99.9% certain this is completely bugged. It's actually probably part of the reason that you can't actually move your innate wait time up or down in the remake. Now, I'm talking about the base value. I realize, you know, heavier equipment slows you down, all that kind of thing, but as far as your base value, your unique characters almost across the board were a bit faster, especially when it came to, like, Ozma, Ravenous, all them. But by and large, it was pretty much just standard across the board for all generics. I mean, it was partially based on class, but everyone's, like, bottomed out value was at the same spot, and you couldn't move that through any means whatsoever. It's part of the reason why uniques eventually technically became, you know, the end-all, be-all, you know, best thing that you should ever use. Though, that being said, it really, like, it wasn't that gigantic of a deal. Unfortunately, it's yet another video that corrupted itself, like the original version of this. It's actually why this is probably going to be the last video on this particular computer. But yeah, even an endgame, like, optimized unique team with everything maxed out, fighting just a bunch of generics, they still can lose. It's not like it's a complete washout. It's a minor advantage. It just feels good. It just makes certain characters feel better, basically. The one funny exception being the wizard, Chamos, that you can get on the neutral route. He's the hardest guy to get on that particular fight. He's a complete pain to actually get a hold of because he's, like, somehow he's way ahead of the rest of the team. And yeah, if you do manage to save him, he's the only character to have, well, he's the only character that's actually slower than technically possible. Oh, interestingly, look at that. Somebody actually somebody actually managed to survive a hit. What the hell? I'm gonna have to take a look at his loadout later, see why he survived that. Yeah, apparently Arcadi is the guy that posted this original save, but whatever. So as you can see, it doesn't even matter. Like, the entire team just gets completely wiped before even getting a chance to move. This guy's the Flash with a Magnum. It's not even a contest. And, okay, apparently some units can survive this. If you're saying, by the way, switch him over to a rifle, A, no, the rimfire just has a cooler animation, and B, it's such a slight difference, it doesn't matter. Like, at this point, his stats are, like, strength is 800-900, whatever. The difference between the rimfire and a rifle is, like, 6 strength. It's not anything. Because, yeah, this one doesn't use attack values, it's just strength bonuses. So, yeah, might as well just stick with the rimfire. It's at least one-handed. It's kind of unique in that one, and you only ever get one, which is kind of part of the reason why for this particular thing I had to use this, because for some reason I thought you could buy more, and yeah, it turns out you can't, so I couldn't use my other save file without going through the entire game again for the sake of a stupid meme. Anyways, yeah, so if you're wondering what happened with the leveling system in the remake, long story short, yes, you can't move your wait time up or down. You can move your base stats up, but when you're switching people back to level 1, it's still within way more reason. It's like, if somebody has pretty decent base stats, if you switch them back to level 1, it's not necessarily going to be the end of the world. In fact, with Ozma, for example, you can pretty much switch her to level 1, and in a lot of cases, she'll still be able to function just fine. But every time that they level up from level 1, they end up getting a pretty decent boost in their stats across the board. If you have, if you're playing the remake and you wanted to just do a quick, just kind of meme run to sort of crush the game, whatever else, just steamroll stuff pretty easily. Pretty much the best way to do it is early game, you go and you swap everybody out between all the different classes you have available at the start. Level them up to about level 11 in Tynemouth. It's a very quick process. And you should have base stats of like 10 to 15 extra for everybody across the board by the end of that process. It's about 0.1 to 0.3. Like in this original version, by the way, you basically got 1 to 3 to your stats. It's strangely enough why there was a stereotype for the longest time that you got randomized stats in the original. It's not true. It's just they all went up at a different rate depending on your class. I'm pretty sure most folks know that by this point, but I saw somebody mention that the other day. That's why I'm bringing it up. Anyways, so yeah. It was toned down a lot in the remake. It was just sort of made into the official leveling system. And, I mean, I gotta appreciate the reference, I gotta say. It's neat that they did that. It's such a bizarre deep cut that even, folks who are fans of the original didn't really seem to catch on. In fact, to this day, I haven't seen anybody else mention this particular weird little thing. I'm sure somebody has. Somebody must have noticed. Like, I mean, if an idiot like me noticed it, I'm sure somebody else did. Anyway, so you guys have fun with that. Honestly, I would not recommend ever using the retissue loop. It's no. It's a nice little power trip for like 5 minutes, and then it gets really old because there's just no actual gameplay anymore. You just put one unit out there, you set them on AI, and you go make lunch. That's about it. All right, you guys have a good one. Take care. See you in the next one.